Hi, I'm Jessica Stutzman from Millcreek Township.
And I'm Chantel Rodriguez. Welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel.
Today we are joined by Jennifer Gornall, Board President, and Brian Carroll, Community Outreach Manager of the Erie Humane Society. They're here to share the organization's commitment to animal welfare and how the community can support their mission. Jennifer and Brian, thank you both so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we're excited to talk about the Erie Humane Society, which is located in Millcreek Township and has been around, founded by a small group of citizens in 1892.
I know.
Such a long time the organization has been helping our community.
132 years.
Yeah.
The Erie Humane Society's been around.
Yes. I mean, really, it's just so many milestones have happened in those years. And so we're happy to have you on the show today and really just dive deep into all of it. And, what is the primary mission of the Erie Humane Society and how has it evolved over the years?
Well, the Erie Humane Society initially, back in the 1890s, was founded to protect humans and animals. But the core of our mission over the years clearly has started focusing more exclusively on animals. And our core mission has three main components. It is to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome. And so what do we mean by that? Rescue, we provide temporary shelter to animals, and not just dogs and cats, but really any animals that need help. We provide them temporary shelter, veterinary care. And what does that mean? So we take in stray animals who are wandering around. We accept animals whose owners can't care for them anymore. And a lot of times it's really sad. Animals who are with elderly people and the elderly people pass away. And so those animals come to us. And also we acquire animals through cruelty cases, meaning we remove them from abusive or neglectful owners. And Brian is very involved in that, and he can talk in a little bit more detail about that. We rehabilitate the animals, and this is such an important component of what the Erie Humane Society does, because not only do we rescue the animals, but once we have them under our care, we provide them with emotional and physical rehabilitation services to help prepare them for the next chapter of their lives. And this is so important because before we put them up for adoption, we get them healthy again. These animals come to us a lot of times in really tragic circumstances. They're injured, they're underfed, they're neglected. And so we do what needs to be done to get them healthy again. We provide veterinary care. We feed them healthy food. We provide training and behavioral care so that they're able to be adoptable, because that's our main goal. And then finally, we rehome them. We provide responsible adoption services to match them up with, hopefully their forever homes. And we want our animals to go to safe and loving homes. So we do some sort of process to vet the people to whom the animals are going. And we continue to work with those pet owners moving forward to make sure that they understand what they can do or how to ensure that the animals it's a successful adoption. We're taking our mission currently, more recently in the past 5 to 10 years, even a step further by continuing our relationship with pet owners beyond adoptions. And we're doing that through our pet wellness clinic and through our pet loss services. And Brian works with those two components of the Humane Society every day. So
as far as our pet wellness clinic, we do offer pet wellness shots and rabies, distemper type of shots. We do low-cost spay and neutering, which really goes along with one of our missions, is to spay and neuter to help control the pet population. Shelter gets full quickly because the pet population is kind of out of control at times. So we really like to push spay and neutering, and a way for us to offer that to the public is this as a low-cost option. We also offer like a TNR program that for feral cat populations, where people can trap cats, bring them in, they get fixed, they get an ear tip, and they get returned back to where they're from. These are cats that they're not going to live in a home. They're basically a feral animal at that point, but it keeps the population down when we offer TNR. We also offer pet loss services. And this is, for that time in a pet owner's life that no one likes to face. We work with those people through every step, through the euthanasia. We have full cremation services that we offer, where we offer that right in house, and we return ashes to the to the pet owners, like I said, we counsel them through everything. We're also looking to work with some vet hospitals to offer them cremation services as well for their clients.
Mm-hmm. And as someone I rescue, the dogs that I've owned, and that is one of the hardest parts of rescuing the animal, is knowing that you're going to go through this absolutely gut-wrenching, tragic loss. And, I have to remind myself that, I made their life better in the short, they're 14, she was alive for 14 years, my dog, but, and then going through that whole painful process with my family and my child going through it. And, but to know that I made a difference in those years, but that now you guys offer support to the families, I think that's really beautiful and special. And I'm really grateful for that. So thank you for sharing that with us.
And at that time, that also, at that time of loss, it then helps shelter pets further by the service that we offer.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the families that you're helping through this process, feel more inclined to come back and get another family member added to their family once, they go through that process of dealing with the death. Once they're ready. Yeah, once they're ready with that, then they feel more than comfortable to come back to you.
Yeah, you provided that closure to them. Mm-hmm. And then when they're ready to and willing to open their hearts again, you guys are there and you're ready to assist again. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we know, as far as we've been here forever, we know that the Erie Humane Society is a no-kill shelter. Mm-hmm. What can you say to that? What does that mean specifically?
So being a no-kill shelter means that there's no limit for staying at the shelter. We only euthanize under severe cases of health or severe cases of behavior. Okay. Every single animal is looked at, they come in, they're given that's checked by our staff. They, make sure that they're healthy, go through the system. But no animal is put down due to space constraints. Sometimes the shelter's full. That's where we rely on our great foster system. Yeah. Because when we start getting full, we can rely on fosters to take some pets and put them in foster. Sometimes those fosters turn into fosters who adopt. So sometimes those animals, they may spend a week at the shelter. They come in, they get their assessment. They get their first round of shots, they get fixed, they go into these fosters, and then it ends up being them for animal.
We call those foster fails.
Yes.
I can so relate to that. I would love it if any of our viewers could be a foster family, but I would be a foster fail.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Does the Humane Society have any affiliations with national advocacy organizations and that aid within your operation?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because this is such an important point that we're trying to ensure that the community understands. The answer to that question is no. The National Humane Society is famous. They have the really sad ads with the music and the shivering animals in the cold, and they make money on a national level. The Erie Humane Society is completely independent. We're a local nonprofit organization, and we get no funding from any national organization. We do not get federal funding. Mm-hmm. We are 100% reliant on local donations and people supporting our events. If people don't give us money, support our events, then we don't have the money to operate. And so that's hard, because you can never predict who's going to give us some money. Mm-hmm. So, in a month we have what's called our Mutt Gala. It's our riff on the Met Gala, sort of fun and crazy. It's spirited. We have a doggy fashion show. And so it's those types of events that we put on, that the more successful they are, the more animals we can help, and the more stable we are, being able to keep our doors open and continuing our operations.
Can you give us the date for the Mutt Gala?
That is the last Saturday in April, which is the 26th.
Wonderful. 26. I have seen pictures of the fashion show.
I look forward to it every year, just to see the photos of them walk in the videos too now, of them walking down. And it just seems like they enjoy it just as much as the person who's taking them down the runway. So it's just a really nice put together event, and I look forward to it every year.
I love it. It's wonderful. And all the funding stays local.
100%. Every penny stays local.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and speaking of the Mutt Gala, what type of services does the Erie Humane Society offer both to animals and to the community as well?
We have one of our programs we have is our Haven to Home program. That helps. We work with SafeNet for if there's someone who needs to get out of a situation and they're afraid, they don't want to leave because they don't want to leave their animals behind. We offer a place to hold their animals while they, get themselves together and find new housing, somewhere that they're going to be able to stay and be safe. We keep those pets safe. A lot of times people don't want to leave abusive situations to leave their pets behind, and they stay there. So that's a great thing that we offer at the shelter. We do things for veterans. Joe King's bowling tournament we just had back in March, huge success. This helps fund adoptions for veterans. A veteran can come in once they still have to have an approved application, just like everyone does. We make sure that everyone has an approved application. If they have their DD 214 form, I believe is what it is, to show an honorable discharge or medical discharge, that adoption is funded and it's free, and it's all paid through Joe King's bowling tournament. And Joe King's a veteran and has been supporting veterans for a long time. So
that is so cool. I did not know of that program, but that is really cool. And so with that program, do these animals eventually become like therapy animals or therapy dogs, depending on what?
Depending on, I mean, we don't have any training where we do that, but, it's definitely, a lot of times veterans suffer from PTSD and having that dog is calming. It may not be an actual quote unquote service dog, but it's there for that individual.
Well, an emotional support dog. Emotional support dogs don't have to have particular training, but I think anybody who has a dog or a cat, we know how soothing they are to us and at any moment. And it really is comforting. And so that's a great program that we have. And we have foster to adopt programs. So sometimes it's really hard to get to know the animals if you just come up for a visit up at the shelter. Mm-hmm. Some dogs, it's unbelievable, dogs even more than cats, how different their personalities are when you walk by those kennels and they're all barking and it's a little scary, and you get them into a home setting and they're totally different. So the Humane Society does have a program where we allow a family or a possible adopter to foster them for a little bit of time and see if it's a good fit. So that's another program that we do, and a trial basis.
Another big thing that we have is our volunteer program. So that allows people to help get the animals out, socialize with the animals. Our volunteers are huge. Mm-hmm. Take them for a walk. We have a running program now. You can come in and jog with a dog.
I love this so much.
We have cat petter. They come in and just cat cuddlers. They come in and they brush the cats and they hang out with the cats. We have a reading program where children will sit in front of the kennels and read to the dogs. So our volunteers are huge. They help at events. There's quite a few that help with the Mutt Gala. We do the Haven to Home. We have a trail race in September that we have done at Frontier Park, but I believe it's moving to Harbor Creek this year. But people can run with their pets, and we have volunteers that help with all our different events. So our volunteer network is it's amazing.
I'm thinking that if you live in like somewhere like an apartment or you're a college student, I remember being a college student and desperately wanted a dog, but I couldn't have one where I was living. I think this is such a great opportunity. Yeah. If you can't have a dog, or if maybe somebody in your family is allergic and you're like, but I've got to get,
fix.
My fix. Yeah. Dog fix or my cat fix. Mm-hmm. That's so wonderful and beautiful. And I can imagine probably while you're out in the community, I've seen things like this where it sparks up a conversation and someone says, okay, well, I appreciate you for walking this dog here or downtown, but I actually want to adopt this dog.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a little adopt me.
Yes, they have adopt me vest on. Yeah.
Adopt me there.
My gosh, I love it so much. That's so innovative. And with all the programs, I mean, that's, really the overarching, big picture programs. What's your day-to-day look like?
Day-to-day, it's 365 days a year.
Christmas,
7 days a week, Christmas. Blizzards. I mean, we had that huge storm, and I can attest I was there plowing the parking lot to make sure everybody gets into work to take care of the animals. It doesn't stop.
No.
It's, from the morning, they're there to clean, feed, Once doors open, it's intakes, it's adoptions. So our kennel staff and our adoptions counselors are working on that. New intakes all need to be assessed. You have to make sure that everyone is up to date on all their shots. So records are kept. I mean, it's quite the process to keep up with. I mean, we can have up to 70 dogs and 150 to 200 cats at a time.
Wow.
So it's a lot of work to, update or to clean, keep up on records, work with the public to ensure the adoptions. We update Facebook pages trying to advertise our adoptable pets, get them out there.
So that people know what we have, what their personalities are, if they're good with cats or dogs or little kids. We try to get that information out so that people come in and see them, adopt them. Brian, tell them a little bit about our cruelty program.
I was actually just going to lead into that because day-to-day is our cruelty division. And before moving to this role, I was actually one of the officers. I'm still assisting with that. We do have one full-time officer now, myself and another worker that there is sworn in as an officer as well, so we can all kind of help back up with that. But the cruelty division has been around since 1987. So what that is people, if they see an abused, neglected pet, and horses, dogs, cats, give a call. Our officers go out. They fully investigate. Any call, every call is investigated. Our first line is to, sometimes it's just education. Mm-hmm. Not everybody is mean, malicious. Sometimes it's just educational, or there's a lack of resources. Mm-hmm. And we try to help first. We're not the big bad guys that come down and kick the doors and swipe your pets. Okay.
That's a misconception.
It's a misconception.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, that's what they want us to do, unfortunately. But, we educate in times where people, they're not going to work with us. Unfortunately, there are times where we have to get warrants and we have to remove animals. Mm-hmm. There are certain situations where it's so bad that we had Tika years ago who was beaten so badly that we had broken legs, and that was before the laws changed. In 2017, the laws changed to we could charge more felonies, misdemeanors. Before that, the only felony charge would be for dogfighting.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, aggravated cruelty to animal is a felony. I believe the first case we charged on that was my personal dog, Dean. He was...
You're going to cry.
So Dean, he was shot by his owners. I might crash.
Left in a field.
Yep.
He lost his eye. He lost a leg. We saved him.
Yeah, we ended up foster him.
Jose.
Foster failure. He lived in my office. So no, his owners, circumstances, they felt the need that something happened, and the way they were going to teach him a lesson was to shoot him.
Oh my gosh.
Making me tear up. I mean,
that's to be honest. I can't believe people would
But we'd end up finding out who did it, and they actually...
Is that our first felony charge?
That was one. I believe that was our first felony charge. They did some jail time for that. And but yeah, but now Dean lives a
great life,
a freeloader life.
He should now. Been through a lot and has, just deserves to live on a couch in a warm house.
And get everything he wants.
Yeah. But going before that, with the Tika case was just as if not more horrifying, and it was only misdemeanor and summary charges. Yeah. So those law changes were huge in 2017.
Yeah.
And offering the cruelty division we help a lot of pets. I mean, statistically, we bring in probably 700 to 800 pets a year through the cruelty division. Mm-hmm. They're not all seized, but there are situations where people realize that, if I sign these pets over, they're going to, I don't have the means to care for them, or I'm not doing right by them. So we help a lot of pets that way.
They voluntarily turn them over to us.
Yes.
And then we give them the care they need, and then we adopt them out to somebody who can care for them.
It's that rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome.
Yes. And I think the mission of rescuing pets is so important. They're just, one, they add so much value to, your family. Like you said, they just provide, a stress relief to come home and have
that comfort, security.
This animal adores you. I always say too, they know you rescued them. Yeah. They just know. And there's nothing my rescues have been the best dogs I have ever owned in my entire life. So I really, really, really appreciate all of the hard work. And, and I know that the things that you see day in and day out are not easy. And I know the community so appreciates everything that, your staff puts themselves through in order to provide this service to our pets and our companions. And for the last 130 years and well into the future. So
it's certainly that's why we're here.
And I can feel that. I can feel the passion and your love for the organization as well. I know we only have a couple minutes left here on the show. Are there any challenges that you need to overcome? Is there anything that you need from our viewers, from the general public, to make your organization a success in 2025 and moving into the future?
Well, again, think about us when you're doing some, giving, financial giving, or if you're at Pet Supplies Plus getting dog or cat food for your pets. We have a bin there. Throw some dog or cat food or litter in our bin. Come to our events. All of those things are what we need day in, day out to make sure that we can continue with our mission, because it's so important.
It is. Is there anything that you wanted to share?
Yeah, no, just the community support. That's what, we just need the community support.
Yeah. And I do think our community, again, loves the Erie Humane Society and will continue to rally around you guys and anything that you need and that the animals need. Because like I said, it is such a beautiful mission and has helped so many people, so many families in our community.
I mean, it takes a village. So, and I think that really is the running theme for all nonprofits, is that it doesn't just take one person. It takes all of us as an entire community to really help out and push and get some money for you guys and really get help for these little animals that are just precious.
I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
We'd love to have you back and really diving into, other topics, what good pet ownership looks like, and, talking more about, going into cruelty cases and, again, if you see something, say something, don't let it slide by. Let us educate those people. And sometimes, I've noticed cruelty cases, like you said, are not always intentional. Sometimes, people are aging and, it comes with maybe dementia. Yep. And they think they're doing a really great thing and they're just not able to provide the care and support that they used to. So I know that it's not always done with malice, but that it kind of starts to unfold and becomes not a good place for the animal anymore. So I want to thank you both for coming on the show with us here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Viewers, again, we've had the Erie Humane Society here on the show today. We learned so much. If you haven't already heard about them, which I'm sure you have, but we've learned so much about their mission, their organization, their programs. Please consider being a foster or a foster fail. Either one will work. And look forward to their Mutt Gala. And it's going to be a wonderful event that helps benefit here locally, and that funding stays local. So I want to thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel. And until next time, have a great day.